What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back to a new review. For today we have the latest budget-friendly device from Xiaomi, the Redmi 5. And with this phone Xiaomi has finally caught up with the competitions in terms of design. And I'm talking about budget phones. So the Redmi 5 costs somewhere between $150 to $180, but like anything else it really depends where you're gonna buy it from. For that price we get a phone that's mostly made out of metal. We also have a 18:9 screen ratio, and this is a 5.7-inch IPS panel that has a resolution of 1440 by 720. So we only have a 720p resolution. Aside from that we get the Snapdragon 450. This is an octa-core CPU. We also have 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of internal storage. Out of that 32 gigs of internal storage, we only have about 24 gigs left, but luckily the phone can take an SD card. Now, unfortunately, the SD card cannot be used as internal storage, but you can still store pictures on it, music, and so on. So the phone's back, it's made out of metal. However, we have plastic at the top and at the bottom, and the phone's frame it's actually made out of plastic as well. So on the back there we have a 12 megapixel camera. We also have the flash and the fingerprint scanner. Now that fingerprint scanner, it's very fast and probably one of the fastest that I've seen for any budget device. That camera on the back also sticks out a bit, and that means that whenever you're gonna place the phone on a flat surface, well, the phone is not gonna sit flat, and that means that you're not gonna be able to type whenever the phone is sitting on any surface because it rocks left, right. The power button and the volume keys are sitting on the right hand side of the phone and they are made out of metal. On top we have a 3.5mm audio jack. We also have a secondary microphone and the IR blaster. The sound output from that audio jack, it's loud, crisp and with a lot of bass, so I really don't have any complaints about it. And that IR blaster also works great with any device that has an IR receiver, so like a TV or pretty much anything that you have around the house. On the other side of the phone you're gonna find a SIM card tray slot, and this device can take either 2 SIM cards or a SIM card and an SD card. And moving all the way to the bottom there you're gonna find what looks to be like 2 speakers. However, we only have 1 speaker, 1 microphone and a micro USB charging port. The phone supports OTG and also fast charging, so charging the device from 0 to 100 is done in just under 2 hours, so pretty quick. As for the speaker, well, it sounds better than most budget phones that I tried under $200, but here is a quick sample of how the speaker sounds. Since we were talking about charging earlier, well, inside this phone we have a 3300 mAh battery, but keep in mind that we have a power efficient CPU and we also have a 720p resolution. So you're gonna be able to go for about 2 days on one charge, and out of that about 12 hours of screen on time. And 12 hours of screen on time is very good for any device. And just before we move forward, can you take a second and press that like button? It's gonna make a huge difference for this video. Alright, so moving to the front of the device and starting all the way at the top. There we have a front-facing flash. We also have a 5 megapixel camera and a speaker. The picture quality from that front-facing camera, it's alright, but definitely not spectacular. So if you have plenty of light, the pictures do turn out quite crisp and detailed, but if you don't have enough light, the pictures become kind of blurry and grainy. As I mentioned earlier, we have a 5.7-inch screen that has a 720p resolution, but unfortunately we still have bezels all around the screen. But even like this, the phone looks quite good in my opinion. It's small enough so you can actually hold it in one hand. Like most Xiaomi devices, the screen still looks good even though we only have that 720p resolution, and realistically you're only gonna notice that you have a 720p resolution when you're reading something, because other than that you're not really gonna notice that. So the colors are nice and vibrant, the viewing angles are really good so you can see the screen no matter how you look at it, and the brightness is decent enough so you can use the phone outside. The touch sensitivity, it's also good and you can touch the screen in 10 places in the same time, and I haven't really had any issues whenever I was typing or playing games or pretty much anything that I was doing on the phone. You're also gonna notice that this time around we have the navigation keys on the screen, so we don't have physical buttons as we've seen for a lot of budget-friendly phones from Xiaomi in the past. And I guess that makes sense because we have a longer screen, but at the same time it kind of takes away from your screen, so some people may not like that. Performance-wise, well, I have to say that the phone performs much better than I was expecting. So we have the Snapdragon 450, and the scores that we get on the Antutu benchmark and the Geekbench 4 are just somewhat lower than the scores that we would get from the Snapdragon 625. The Redmi 5, it's using MIUI 9.1, and this is the Chinese ROM that I have installed on this device, and that's based on Android 7.1.2, but I have to say that this version of MIUI is probably the best that I've seen for any Xiaomi device. The UI is very smooth and very quick, so pretty much everything that you're gonna do on this phone, it's done in a very speedy way. And I've actually done a speed test between this phone and the OnePlus 5T, and if you wanna check that one out, I'm gonna leave a link in the video's description or the top right corner. The CPU is powerful enough so you can run two apps in the same time, so you can use the split screen function for Android 7, and the multitasking is also exceptionally good, mostly considering that we only have 3 gigs of RAM available for this device, and most Xiaomi devices don't do that great for multitasking, but this one did very well for that. I tried a whole bunch of apps on this phone and pretty much every single one that I tried performed very well. Now of course it takes a second or two to actually load an app, but once an app is loaded you shouldn't really have any issues. So with Chrome, for example, you can zoom in, zoom out, scroll up, scroll down. Basically everything that you're gonna do with Chrome works great after the page loads. On the YouTube app, of course, the resolution is gonna be 720p, but that's the resolution of the screen. But I like the fact that you can actually zoom in on the video, so you can take full advantage of the 18:9 screen ratio. Gaming is also possible on the Redmi 5, but of course we don't have the most powerful CPU or GPU, therefore you may see some skipped frames and lag for certain games. But the two games that I actually played on the phone didn't have any issues at all. So MIUI 9.1 is definitely an improvement from anything that we've seen from Xiaomi in the past, but at the same time it's still missing some key features. So I miss the ability to reply to notifications from the notification tab. So for example, let's say that you get a WhatsApp message, well, you cannot reply from the notification tab to that message. You actually have to open the app to reply to it. And that's a bit annoying in my opinion. And we are finally getting to that 12 megapixel camera on the back of the device. So first of all, the maximum recording resolution for videos from the rear camera it's 1080p, so we don't get 4K recordings, and we also don't have optical image stabilization or electronic image stabilization. Now luckily the sound quality from the video recordings has improved over past budget phones from Xiaomi, and this is a quick sample of a video recording that I've done with this device. This is a quick video test to the Redmi 5. I'm currently recording in 1080p. This is the maximum recording resolution, and it doesn't seem like we have any type of image stabilization. So this is how 1080p file looks from this device. Now, leaving the video quality aside and moving to pictures, well, I have to say that this camera is among the best that I've seen for any device under $200. The pictures that you're gonna take with plenty of light are very detailed, with very accurate colors and very good dynamic range, and that's not something that we see every day for phones under $200. So taking pictures with this device, mostly with plenty of light, it's an absolute pleasure. What I wasn't expecting was how good the low light pictures would turn out from this phone, because most Xiaomi phones under $200 don't do that good in low light. But with this one you can actually take decent pictures in low light, and once again for a phone under $200 that is quite good. Moving on to the GPS unit, well, it only takes the phone 1 or 2 seconds to find your location. Once your location is found, it doesn't seem to lose it, so no issues with the GPS. As for sensors, well, you have all the sensors that you would find in a much more expensive device, including a gyroscope. So if you're planning to use this phone for VR, well, it will definitely work. For connectivity, the phone can connect to 4G networks, but strangely enough we don't have dual band Wi-Fi, so you can only connect to the 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi bands. The speaker on top here is loud enough so you can hear most conversations in most conditions, and the call quality is also decent. Now the speeds over Wi-Fi, of course, they're not the greatest because we only have the 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi band, but they are decent enough for a phone under $200. And it's time to conclude this video. So this right here is probably gonna be one of the best budget phones for 2018, and I really don't have any bad things to say about it. Now of course I wish the screen would have a better resolution, I wish the frame would be made out of metal and so on, but let's keep in mind the price of this device, and I imagine that the price will actually drop in the next couple of months as well. So if you're looking for a good phone, this is a phone to get. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, press that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.